Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be talking about driving test waiting times as of October 2024. I had an email from the DVSA recently and they're talking about a new plan they have to get the waiting times down. So I'm going to go over all that in detail, but before I talk about that, let's talk about what's actually happened. So as many of you will know, the waiting times for driving tests got really bad in 2020 and the DVSA had a 2-year plan to reduce the waiting times, which obviously didn't work because that was supposed to end in the summer of 2022 and it's now autumn 2024 and the waiting times have actually gotten worse. I saw an article on this from one of the leading instructor organisations, and it said that test waiting times have actually risen 20% since summer 2024. And it's the same for me. I'm in Birmingham in the UK and you can't get a test now. It's October. The earliest one you can get is about March, April at the moment. So it's always around sort of 5-6 months. You often can't even get one at all, blah blah. We're all getting used to it now. So what's the DVSA's latest plan? Well, they've done what everyone's been saying for years. We all know what the answer is, don't we? Take on more driving test examiners. Recruit more examiners. That's the way to do it. Now, to be fair to them, they have been doing this and they had a big recruitment drive. I think it was in 2021. But it was a bit tragic, really. A lot of the people that applied weren't suitable, and the ones that made it through, a lot of them left within a few months of starting the job. So unfortunately that didn't work too well. But they have said that they are now starting a new recruitment drive to take on more driving test examiners. Now, it is a skilled job and it's not easy. Most people by far wouldn't make it. The pass rates to become an instructor, I mean, this is not an accurate figure, but you have to take 3 tests to become an instructor, and the final one has a pass rate of around 20% to 25%. And for driving test examiners, they do a similar sort of thing. It's not the same test, but they do a similar kind of course where the pass rate is also very low. So it's not easy at all to become a driving test examiner. It's a skilled job. You need to prove you can drive to a high standard. You need to prove that you are able to assess people fairly and consistently. And it's not easy. So I think the plan was to take on 200 extra examiners. Just checking this junction, it's very hard to see there. So yeah, 200 extra examiners, and they are having open days at driving test centres, so people who want to go along and see what it's like to work as an examiner can do so. So yeah, will it make any difference? Well, the problem is, as fast as they can recruit examiners, they're also leaving because some examiners are retiring, some are just moving on to other things. So yeah, it's a difficult situation, but please understand they are doing all they can. Now, those of you that follow my channel may have noticed that I haven't been doing many driving lesson stuff recently, many driving videos and tuition videos, and a large part of that, apart from the fact that I became a hypnotherapist and I've spent time doing that, it's simply because the waiting times are so bad. It's just impossible because pupils are not coming in because everyone knows about it now, and pupils are just saying, well, what's the point? You know, I'm starting my lessons and I can't even get a test. You often can't get a test at all. It's not just that it's hard to get them, you actually cannot get them full stop. You just go on the system and there aren't any at all. And they've done a lot recently. They've discouraged the use of apps. As I've said, don't book using these test cancellation apps because they're often scams and the tests don't exist and you're not supposed to use them, and they've tightened down on that. They've had a real crackdown so the driving instructors can even be removed from the register of ADIs that's approved driving instructors. You can have your licence to teach taken away if you're found to be selling tests for profit and, you know, getting people to book through apps and stuff like that. So I'm pleased about that because, you know, they really need to set up their own cancellation system, and I just don't know why they don't do it. It's so easy. It must be easy to just get someone in their IT department to just set up a system where you can register for test cancellations, and it sends out email alerts and people book them and take them, and I don't see why it's such a problem, but they just don't do it. There is a cancellation system for instructors, because the system I see is different to the one learners see, and it's quite laughable because you can sign up to get alerts for test cancellations. Brilliant, but there's one problem. You have to sign into the website to get the cancellation notifications. So what's the point of that? What's the point of having to sign into a website to get a notice of a cancellation? They really need to improve that on the IT side. But what else have they done to improve test waiting times? Well, they did say they were going to do this thing where driving instructors were going to be very closely monitored. And I did a video about this about 18 months ago. I think it was summer 2023. And all the unintended consequences of doing that, because it sounds like a good idea. What they were going to do is make it so driving instructors would be monitored, and if too many pupils were failing, you'd be retested, which on the face of it sounds like a good idea, but there were a raft of unintended consequences, which means it wouldn't work. Like, for example, instructors would only cherry pick the best pupils. They'd only take on the absolute best pupils, and they'd just be refusing to ever take anyone for a test for fear of losing the job. So all it would do is create a bigger backlog than ever, because no one would be taking tests at all. So what's happened to that? Well, I did email the DVSA about this recently, and they said very bluntly, they just said it's still going through Parliament. So it's still apparently all going through. But now the government's changed and all that, is it still happening? Who knows? No one seems to know what's going on with that. They scrapped it, I don't know. It's just kind of gone. They've just stopped talking about it. So there's lots of things being proposed, but really all they need to do and all they can do to cut the waiting times is take on more examiners. It's the only answer. And really, it makes sense, because if they take on more examiners, they'll be earning more money. Loads more money, I was going to say. They'll be earning loads more money, so they can easily afford to pay them. I mean, driving test examiners only get paid a fairly low wage of about, last time I checked, it was £26,000 a year. And if you divide that by the cost of a driving test, what's that, £62? If you work it out, they can pay an examiner's wages. I think I worked this out once. After 3 or 4 months of tests, they've paid the examiner's wages. So those figures may be wrong. I'm just doing this in my head as I'm driving, so they're not that accurate maybe. But to put it simply, if they took on an examiner, that examiner would be busy for at least a year in advance, and it would more than cover their wages, the money they make from selling the tests. So yeah, it is annoying, but they are doing something about it, taking on more examiners, and that is really the only way they're going to fix it, because the waiting times haven't really got better at all. If anything, like I said earlier, they're getting worse. So I'd like to finish by pointing out, like I mentioned earlier, and I am aware that I'm driving around in circles. So if you wonder why I'm driving around in circles, I'm just testing these cameras, because I recently made a video about how the lenses have been fogging up when I have the blower on. So I've changed the lenses to fix that problem, and I've got the microphone working as well. So yeah, what was I saying? What I mentioned earlier about me not making many driving videos, I am aware that my channel has become very heavy on the therapy side because I've been focusing heavily on driving anxiety therapy for 5 years. I can't believe it's been 5 years since I really stopped doing driving lesson videos. And I've done a few here and there, but if you want to see more, please let me know. I know I have made a few videos like this saying I might make more, but if people don't respond, then I won't bother making them. But if you'd like to see more driving lesson videos, driving lessons, driving tests, all that kind of thing, then just let me know and I could get out and make some, because I've already got tons of therapy videos made up until March 2025. So I may spend the next few months making some more driving ones. And a little bit more news for you. There are lots of changes coming soon. I may as well point some news. The other day I deleted a few of my most recent videos, and I'll just explain why that was. What were they now? There's one I made about my dash cam, which I deleted a few hours after I released it, because I made a video talking about the issues I've had with this new camera, and then just after I made it, I fixed them. So I took that video down because I didn't want to have people thinking my cameras are broke when they're not. And there's one I made about hypnosis. I know people don't like the hypnosis ones, and I know they're very heavy, they're very kind of boring if you're not into that stuff, so I'm not going to make more about hypnosis. Therapy, yes, I'll still keep doing that, but the behind the scenes of how it works, I don't know if people really care about that at all. Even people who've got anxiety, they don't really want to know how it works, they just want it gone. And the other video I took down was one about payment plans for therapy. So they're all just like news videos which I've taken down just in case anyone wonders why my videos disappeared in the last week. Sometimes I make them and I don't like them. Not because I might mix my words up like that, but sometimes I just don't like them. I think, I don't really think that's a good video, and I'll take them down. But I would really like to get out and make more driving ones. I love driving in the winter for some reason. I've always loved driving when it's cold, it's nice and warm in the car. But yeah, lots of changes coming soon. And I will have some news in probably November, maybe January, probably November. Something's happening which will mean I can more easily make more videos. So if you have a guess what that is, some of you may know there is something happening at the end of October, which is a bit of a clue as to what it is. So check out these other videos of mine on the screen now. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.